This video will walk you through setting up your WebAssign account and showing you where the assignments are. To get to WebAssign, you can use the course link in our Blackboard site, or you can type www.webassign.net into your web browser. Once you've reached the home page, you will first need access to our course. If you go beneath the account login information, you're going to click on I have a class key. On this page, you'll need to enter our course code. Our course code is going to be UAF 0483 1891. Okay. You want to go ahead and write this down because you'll need it to enter later. Once you've submitted, it'll tell you that your class key has been recognized, and you should see information about our course. So Calculus 1, Section CDE. Click on Yes, this is my course, and you'll be taken to the account setup portion of the creation. Here you have two options. You can either create a WebAssign account or sign into your existing account. If you've used WebAssign at any time before, then you already have a WebAssign account, and click the second option and continue. Okay. If this is your first time using WebAssign, you're going to need to create a WebAssign account, so click the first option and press continue. Here again you'll see our class information at the top, and then you'll see the login information. Here you can pick your username and password. Please pick something that you're going to remember, as I'm not going to have access to it. Okay. And then under the student information, please enter it as you would see it in Blackboard. So the first and last name and the email address should match up what's in Blackboard. Please be aware, if your student information doesn't match what's in Blackboard, you may not get your WebAssign grades. Okay. Once you create your account, you'll then be taken to a verification page where then you'll be asked to log back in. Okay. Once you've logged in, you'll see a screen that looks very similar to this. So across the top there's a menu bar. Over on the right you'll see the course information, and then down below you'll see the WebAssign notices. Okay. At this point, this is where you're going to be asked for your access code. And as you can see, you have three options. Okay. The first is to purchase your access code online. So if you have not bought your textbook yet, you can purchase access right now by clicking continue, picking which type of access you want. I would recommend either the lifetime of the edition access to ebook and homework, or the single access to ebook and homework. You're definitely going to want both the ebook and the homework. For those who don't use the ebook so much, you can just do the access to the homework, but then some of your problems, you won't get all of the resources that you would with the ebook. Okay. Once you pick one, you can check out. It will ask you for your credit card information. So back to the other screen. If you have your textbook, you can enter your access code that came with your textbook. Please be aware that if you did not buy your textbook through the CDE website, your access code may be different and may not work. But you should get something that looks like EWA, so Enhanced WebAssign, ebook, and homework. So either this one that you see highlighted, or even the EWA math combo, or the EWA and ebook STB. Okay, so you should have one of those types of codes. It should start with an EWA for Enhanced WebAssign. Okay, once you pick the correct one, so let's say I pick that one, it'll then give you the 4 blanks for you to enter that access code. Okay. Once you've done that, click continue. It'll take you into the site. Okay. The other option that you'll have is a trial period. So if you've already ordered your textbooks, but you just haven't received them yet, you can still access your WebAssign, and that's with your trial period. It will tell you how long you have left remaining. Because this is one of my instructor accounts, I have a little bit more time than you guys. You guys get, I think, 20 days. When you get into the home page, you'll see your book. And on the side, if you, again, haven't purchased your access code, you'll see course access under purchase. Over to your left, you'll see the My Assignments tab, which will list assignments coming up for the course. There's a grade book. The ebook is under resources, and there's also a calendar in there. Okay. Now, under your assignments, you can always access them from the home page. They're also listed up top in the menu bar, and it'll give you kind of a more detailed page of your assignments. Now, for now, I just have the 3 listed. When you first log in, you will see them all for the semester. Okay. Again, in this view, you see not only the assignment, but the due date and time, as well as a brief description of what topics that assignment is going to cover. Okay. On the right, you'll see your score. So if you've attempted this or if you've started it, it'll grade it as you go. All of your quizzes, I'll click on one just so you can get an idea, are 5 problems. Again, it'll tell you a brief description. It'll tell you for all of them, you'll get 3 attempts at each problem. And you'll be able to submit these in parts. So, for example, in this case, if I was trying this first problem, I can put in a solution. And once I start typing, you'll notice I now get some extra buttons at the bottom. I can submit my answer. I can save my progress. So if I'm not quite sure of the answer and I want to come back to it later, I can put in my answer and save it and come back to it at a different time. Or I can practice another version of it. Okay. In these, I also get some tutorial options. So I can read about it, and this will take me to the ebook. So like I said, if you purchase the access code that does not have the ebook, you're not going to get this option. You can chat about it, which basically means when you click on this, it'll take you to an online tutor who can kind of converse with you and help you out with the problems. Okay. Each of your different problems have different things, and you'll notice once I enter one of these answer boxes, I get a little calculus pad over here that gives me my different symbols, functions, relationships, trig identities, etc. You can enter things in using those as well. For the graphing, same thing. They have a little tutorial. If you don't need a tutorial, you can go ahead and just select on what you want and graph your equations as needed. Okay. And again, once you've answered more than one, you get a couple different options. I can either save my assignment progress. So again, if I've answered a couple of them and I want to save all of the work I've done and come back later, I can, or I can submit it. Okay. It also tells you which answers will be submitted or saved. So if you've only worked on a couple, so at this point, if I save my progress and then I begin working somewhere else, when I go to save again, it will now save just these ones that I've worked on up until this point. Okay. Down at the bottom, you get those same options again. So if you work through a couple and you can't quite remember which ones you've already saved, you can go down to the bottom and save everything or submit everything. Okay. 3 attempts at each problem. So once you've submitted a single problem, you'll get 2 more attempts at it. If you submit one, save everything, submit a different one, save everything, it'll keep track of which ones you've submitted and how many submissions you've had. Okay. A couple other things to make note of. So once you submit, so let's say, for example, I want to submit the answer to this problem. Okay. If it's correct, or if it's correct, you'll see a little check mark there. If it's incorrect, you'll see a little X. The X will tell you basically that you need to go back and try it again. Okay. Once you've submitted something, back up at the top, you can see your score as you go. So if I had gotten this right, you would see a 1 out of 1. If a problem has more than one part to it, it'll give you like half out of 1 or a third out of 1 or things like that. So you can see your progress as you go, and get your percentage as you go. Okay. On the right-hand side of each problem, there are two things to make note of. The first is there's kind of this little code here. It says Larson ETS 5, and then it has some numbers after it. Okay. If you ever use the chat about it, the online tutor is going to want to know which problem you're working on. And they don't mean, quiz 1.1, problem number 2. They mean this code here. So you would tell them Larson ETS 5 1.1.041. That lets them know exactly which problem out of the entire bank of problems that you're working on. Okay. The other thing to make note of is the My Notes section. And this is nice if, for example, you had problems on a section, or you made some, if you realize something about a problem, maybe something you want to remember when you go back to review, you can make little notes in here and save them for yourself. Okay. For example, I could say, this problem was really hard. Review for exam. Section 1, problem 41. Okay. And so again, this little code over here tells me I'm looking at section 1.1, number 41. And so if I go back to my notes, there's what I would see. Okay. You can use that note piece for other things as well, but it's there for your use. Okay. One of the other tools that you'll see on here is the Watch It. And again, this basically gives you a little tutorial. They'll walk you through a similar problem. So if you tried it and you got it wrong and you're not quite sure why, you can watch it and they'll kind of take you through a little bit step by step. Okay. So there's basically your quizzes. Okay, I'm going to go back to My Assignments. Okay, and again, as you can see, my score's been updated from what I've done. This means I've actually tried it, even though I don't have a value out of 5. It means I've actually downloaded the assignment. Okay. Now, as I mentioned in the exam portion of your introduction, you will have your pretest online. Okay, so this is where you'll find your pretest. It'll be available to you up until Friday the 27th at 11 p.m. You have 2 hours to take this. It is timed, so please make sure you prepare accordingly. This is all prerequisite material. So the first 5 quizzes that you'll have over Chapter 1 will give you some ideas of the kinds of things that you'll be looking at. The first lesson assignment gives you some problems out of the text to work so that you can get a feel for it. And then you should attempt this. You'll get 3 attempts. So once you've submitted, again, you'll get 3 attempts at each problem. Try to do well on this. You need at least a 75%. If you don't score 75%, that probably suggests that you're not quite ready for calculus. I would probably either suggest taking a prerequisite course, maybe getting a tutor if you plan to continue, or try to take this in class. So maybe not online would be the best option for you. Okay. Again, other things in the home page, I won't use quite as often. Most of the stuff I will put in Blackboard. But again, the resources there are for you. So this, again, links kind of to your ebook. Each section will have different resources like your videos, any tutorials, practice problems, um, things like that. Okay. All right. So there is your WebAssign. At this point, I would suggest getting your access code. Go ahead, log in, make sure you get your account set up, and start on the first couple assignments. So look at some of those quizzes in Chapter 1 and get a head start on it.